Germany was much more industrialized than Russia during the World War I era. In fact, they were among the highest ranked, but they didn't feel that they got the same respect that Britain got when they were the industrial giant. In case war broke out, Schlieffen came up with a war plan that Germany should attack France first, if anything, because Russia would take longer to mobilize. This plan is called the Schlieffen Plan. He came up with this plan knowing that France and Russia may form an alliance.
Russia, Austria-Hungary, and Germany were all fighting in the Eastern Front. Conflict was inevitable. Russia was strong coming into the war. It had good weapons and was almost superior to Austrians. The only thing holding back this great country was the deficient transportation infrastructures. It was very hard to resupply and maintain good field formations. Since Germany and the Austrian-Hungary were all well industrialized while Russia was not, it was very easy for Russia to be defeated in a very short time. General Danilov, assuming that Germany would open the war by attacking France first, devised a plan in 1910 and finally put it in motion in 1912. This, in fact, was exactly what happened. Two armies advancing to East Prussia. Rennenkampf's First Army attacked from the north, while Samsonov's Second Army attacked from the south. At first, Russia had few successful movements, but by August 29, 1914, Samsonov's army was surrounded at Tannenberg.
The Battle of Tannenberg is one of the most important and impacting battles on the Eastern Front. 3 days before that, Germany had a loss to Russia, so Prittwitz was replaced with Ludendorff and Hindenburg. Those two new generals took all the credit for the success at the Battle of Tannenberg, but credit was actually due to Maximilian Hoffmann. On the other hand, though, Samsonov's army was defeated so harshly for a number of reasons, including the lack of communication between his Second Army and Rennenkampf's First Army. He didn't know what Hoffmann's plans were, and he was also unaware that Rennenkampf's army had stalled moving into East Prussia. Lack of knowledge would have been enough to lose, but Germany had managed to intercept a couple of Russia's messages revealing where Russia was and how they were going to attack on Germany. Therefore, Ludendorff could plan his attack accordingly. The Russians had come into this battle with 150,000 soldiers, but 100,000 of them ended up being captured prisoner. There were also 30,000 casualties. The losses of the troops were so devastating, Samsonov ended up killing himself.
By 1915, factories couldn't produce enough supplies, and the transportation system broke down. There was a limited supply of crucial materials that were delivered to the front. Troops didn't have enough guns or ammunition, causing more and more deaths. Just in that year, casualties for Russians reached 2 million. Thinking he could help, Tsar Nicholas II went out to the front, but it turns out that he did no better than his generals. Not only that, but he made matters even worse for his country by leaving the country in the hands of Tsarina Alexandra. She couldn't do it alone and decided to rely on an illiterate peasant, Gregory Rasputin. He weakened the country even more and was killed by a group of nobles.
In 1917, Tsar Nicholas decided to step down, taking advice from military and political leaders. Duma politicians set up a provisional government while continuing the battle against Germany. But outside the provisional government, Soviets were set up. Before they knew it, the Bolsheviks, led by Vladimir Lenin, took over. He highly believed in Marxist ideas and spread it among factory workers and other socialists. In March 1917, Lenin was in exile for spreading his ideas. Knowing that it would be a huge distraction and complication for Russia during the war, Germany sent Lenin on a train back to Russia to make matters worse.
Lenin and the Bolsheviks kept working toward the revolution, promising the people of Russia peace, land, and bread. In November 1917, the Bolsheviks, armed factory workers, and soldiers from the Russian fleet overthrew the provisional government easily, taking over several cities. After the revolution, Lenin decided to end the war. In March of 1918, Russia signed the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, ending the war on the Eastern Front.
After Russia pulled out of the war, they still had fighting going on within the country. Many people did not like the idea of Marxism, so a civil war broke out. The Reds were the Bolsheviks, and the Whites were the people that opposed Marxism. The Red Army ended up winning by a devastating defeat, and so Russia became a communist state and still is today.